Hi Shubhankar, hi Rahul. Good evening. Is everyone in? I can see only 12 of you are here. Okay. Let me start with posting the MCQ. Yeah, I have added the MCQ for Baba batch. Very simple one. Yeah, added for Tata batch as well. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's start. Any doubts on yesterday's session relationships? Did you go through the CCs today? Is it doable? Aggregations, at least the theoretical concept. Do anyone want me to repeat what aggregations are? Or can we continue with the examples?
Ma'am, can you repeat the relationship?
Relationship, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do you understand by what we mean by the term, one-to-one relationship, or one-to-many relationships? Okay, or many-to-many relationships. Do you understand by this, no, the term of these? Can you give an example for one-to-one, anyone? For a particular movie or any post can have only one title, correct? A movie can have
Yes,
only
ma'am.
one title, right? So that's
Yes, ma'am.
kind of a one-to-one relationship. Okay, and
Okay.
again, one post or one social media post can have many comments,
Yes, ma'am.
correct? And the example which for many to many what we saw is one teacher, okay, is associated to multiple class, let's say class 1, or class 2, and class 3. Okay, and there is also a possibility for this class 3, right, a particular class, one class, to be associated with multiple teachers. It's also associated with teacher 1. No, teacher 2 can also take for the class 3 a different subject. Again, there might be multiple teachers, right? So this is teachers, right? One teacher can go to multiple class, and one class can have multiple teachers, correct? Yes. So this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
an example of many to many relationships. So when I have relationships in my model, let's take an example of one post having multiple comments. Okay. So when I am storing it in MongoDB, okay, you will have post. Let's say you have a post document, and that document has title, and it might also have likes. Okay, probably posted by the user ID. Okay, and it might also have comments, right? Correct. So this is an array, correct? So if I have a relationship which is one to many, okay, and if I don't know the count of this many, okay, this many can be 5, or this many can be 50,000, I don't know, right? So when you have this much of a huge data, okay, huge data that is not predictable, okay, users can add comments every time, right? You cannot predict how many comments for a post will come into. Okay, so when I have this much of a huge data, adding it in the same collection, okay, let's say each comment, okay, let's say this is an array. Let's say this is my object ends here and my comments ends here. So each comment can have the comment text, right? The likes for each comment, whoever posted the comment, right? So this is one object, right? So this can be up to, like, let's say 50,000. Okay, that much of a huge data. Okay, okay, it's not like you cannot store, okay, 50,000 data in the same post document itself. If you store that much of a data, okay, which is unpredictable and can grow in time, okay, what happens is the initial loading of this post itself will get delayed. Okay, if this comment is just one comment, okay, let's say it's take 5 milliseconds to fetch the post. If it has 50,000, obviously this will also increase, right? The time it requires to get the data from the database will also increase,
Yes, ma'am.
correct? So
Yeah.
in most scenarios, you first need only these details. And if you have seen the Facebook or Instagram post, you have the post details first, and here you have few buttons. So only when you click on that, you will get the comment section, right? Most queries will be only with these basic details. and only on click of a certain button you will be required for this comment related details and all. So instead of storing all the comments in the same document, okay, I am going, this post is a separate collection, right? I am going to store this comment itself in a separate collection. Let's say this is a comment. Okay, this is a new collection. Okay, I have all the comment here. Let's say comment text, likes, user ID, whoever posted the comment. Okay, let's say this is one document and I have plenty of documents in this collection. Okay, so this will also have an ID.
Yes, ma'am.
This will also have an ID. So what is the problem when I separate out each comment in a separate collection? I will not know. One problem is I will not know for this particular post. Let's say post 1. Okay, I will not know what are the comments for this post. Correct. I will actually miss that part. If I move the comment section into a separate collection, I will have one disadvantage, which is I will not know what are the comments for a particular post. What are the comments for post 1? Okay, so in order to identify that, what we are doing is add document in the collection, get this ID part. Okay, get this ID part. Okay, and then put it inside this array, inside this comments array. So instead of this entire document, now I'm replacing it with just the ID part, ID of the comment, right? This is the comment ID. By this, can we overcome the disadvantages which I told earlier? So for a particular post, now I have all the comment IDs. So I can get all these comment IDs, go to my comment collection and simply fetch the result. Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this is this idea which I told is just the approach. Okay. So how you define, how you achieve it in your Mongoose schema is the concept of relationships, which I told you. Okay. Let us go back. What earlier, let's go to movie schema. So this is the schema which we had earlier to our movies. Okay, so I have added, movies can have multiple reviews, right? So similar concept, one post can have multiple comments. Similarly, one movie can have multiple reviews. So what I have done is, instead of storing the entire review in an array, okay, I have separated out into a separate schema. Okay, each document will have an ID. Okay, and I am going to store that ID alone in my movie schema. Okay, exact whatever I told you. Okay,
Ma'am, line number 21.
yeah,
Line number 21, REF. What is that?
yes. So when I say reference, when I store the ID here, you should tell the schema which collection I am referring to, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the reviews ID. So ideally, if you store any IDs here, that should be part of any other collection, right? So that is my review collection here.
Okay, okay.
Got it? So that is my review collection here. So I have an ID. By default, your Mongo will create an ID. So I am linking that ID here, and I'm also telling that each ID is a reference which is present in the review collection itself. Okay, this is just to denote your schema that each ID is part of review collection. Okay.
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 Yes.
So when we do this, so we need to changes that need to be done when we are adding review. Let's go to movies. Okay. This should be a separate file in itself, but we have added the add review here itself. So we need to do two steps, right? First, add the data to your review model, correct? And then get the ID of the review. Okay, and then add it into my movie model. Okay, reviews array, and just inserting that ID into that movie model. Is that steps clear?
Wait.
Okay, so yeah,
Review model create review ID. Means in line number 96, it will return ID.
Yes, this will have an ID, right? Every
Okay.
time you create, you
Yeah, yeah.
insert an
Dot.
entry into your
Yeah.
Mongo, you will
Dot.
get that ID.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
And I can update it. Okay, okay, ma'am.
yeah.
Done.
So there are multiple ways in which you can design. Okay. The other, no, yesterday someone also told, why don't I add the movie ID to my review relationship itself? Let's say, where's my review model? Why don't I add the movie ID here so I can simply go to my review schema directly, give the movie ID and get all the reviews. That also will work. Okay, again, that is also a reference, right?
Yes,
Correct.
ma'am.
If it's just the way you design your application. Yes, you can add instead of storing this part here, okay, reviews array, what I'm going to do is add a separate field called movie ID,
Yeah,
okay,
movie
and
ID.
then add my movie ID here. Correct.
Okay.
So if I want all the reviews of a particular movie ID, I can right away go to my review schema and then get it. Okay. Again, that will also be a relationship and you will also have to reference it. Okay, got it? Any other doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Aggregations, any doubts? Aggregations? Any with the theory part, what are aggregations? Can any one of you tell me? What are aggregations?
Sum or unwind, these kind of terminology used in aggregation
Okay, so
or
theoretically,
project.
yes, project, yeah, that are all stages. So you have multiple stages in which you query, from which you query the database, right? So instead of putting all your multiple complex queries in one find query, you are basically separating it out into stages so that all your operations are done in stage manner, stage one like stage two. Okay, and the output of each stage will be the input of the next stage. Got it? So it's something very similar to middlewares. Okay. It happens stage by stage. Okay. You have certain conditions, certain criteria, certain thing to be done in each stage. You mention those criterias in each of the stage. Okay. And it executes stage by stage. And the output of each stage will be the input of the subsequent or the following stage. Okay, so this stages, right? So we know basically this thing, all multiple stages, is called aggregation pipeline. Okay, it's basically a pipeline. So you have stage one. Let's say this is the collection or movie collection. First stage one occurs. The result of the stage one operation is the input of stage two. Okay, and that is the result, no input of stage three, and then let's say you finally get the output. So this is called as aggregation pipeline. Okay, you can add as many stages you want and everything will be executed stage by stage. Okay, so that's the theoretical part of aggregations. Let's come to the examples which we saw. Yeah, in the movies only. The first is I told you one operator, that is the match operator. So basically what your match operator will do is to just match all your criterias whichever you have given and then fetch you the result. Okay, so is this part clear? When stage one, what happens?
Filter,
Yes.
right?
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
again in the stage two and again I'm doing the match, okay, with the rating. So let's say it's greater than 5, all those I need to get it. Okay, so probably these are the results of my operation. Still pretty huge. Okay, so let's say greater than 8. this one. Even if we give greater than 8, still just trying to bring the data set smaller. Okay, nothing. 9. It's coming up. Okay. Yeah, I have around we have around 2 movies, I guess. 2. Yeah, that's okay, perfectly fine. Okay. Now let's say, so let's see the another stage. In the third stage, what I need to do is, let's say I don't want all the fields here. I just need only the title and the IMDb thing alone. Okay. Title, year, and IMDb. These are the fields I need. All the other fields I don't want. Please, can you mute yourself, please? Rahul. Yeah. Okay. So I need only 3 fields: IMDb, year, and plot. Sorry, year and title. Title, yes, title. Okay. So what is the thing which we used? We have already told you about the term that we use in Mongo to just require the fields whatever you want. What is that?
Project.
Projection, right? So
Yeah.
if you remember in your find query, or find by ID, the second thing is called projection. You basically mention what are the fields you needed. Okay. Same way, you can also do that in your aggregation pipeline. Okay, this aggregation is a concept of MongoDB itself. Okay, so it's not a concept of Mongoose. Okay, your MongoDB itself no internally supports this aggregation. So again, let us use project. Okay. Let's say I wanted the title, right? The title is the one. Title. Here you use true. Okay, in find and all, if I remember, we used 0 and 1, right? 0 and 1 to say which are the fields required and which are the fields
Yes,
not
ma'am. Yes,
required.
yes.
So
Yeah, yeah.
here you will have to have true. Okay. So
Ma'am, we
again,
can also use 1 or 2 in projection also.
is it?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Probably
That's right.
that's okay. Yeah, let's try. Okay. I need year. Okay, and I also need IMDb. I think I'll have to mention it in quotes, but let's see. So these are the fields I need. So let us go back to our Postman. Hit it. Okay. Can you see only those fields are there? Yes, 1 and 0 is also working. Okay, so either 1 or 0, whatever you feel correct with. Okay, the project you understand? Nothing complex, right? So basically what happens is this project is not applied on your entire collection. Okay, this is applied only on those 2 entries which got matched in stage 2. Okay. Can you understand this? Let's say you put this in the find query. Okay, in the find query, let's say you go and add projection here. What ideally happens is that applies to the entire collection itself. Okay, so that's something complex process. So this projection is applied only to the output of your stage 2. So which is much simpler, right? Yes.
Yes,
Only for
ma'am.
the 2 results I
Yes, ma'am.
apply the projection. Okay, so
Yes.
this you understand, right? Let us say let's say I wanted to sort it in the both are 2010, both are okay. I wanted to sort it based on title. Okay, So let's say that I'm going to give it in the second stage. You have sort, okay, and then you have sort by title, right? So title, and then I mention 1 for ascending and -1 for descending. Okay, 1 should ideally not give any change in our record because it's already sorted. Let's give -1 and see. So now if you see here, sender comes in first and then inception goes back. Okay, descending order in terms of title. Okay, sort understood. Project, match, what else we have?
Why we are using two match query and single
Yeah,
query?
yes, you can also add that. I just wanted to demonstrate the stages yesterday, so that I just added as a 2 stage and then showed you. That's what you're asking? I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
ideally put that here, no problem.
Yeah.
You can just get away with this stage. Okay. So anything else you can think of? What else? What are the operators? There's something called group operator. Okay, group and lookup. Okay. We will see lookup. Uh, Lookup, project. Okay, project after projection or after sort also, no problem. Let us go and examine the data set which we have already. Mongo. Yeah. So each movie also have comments, right? So if you see in the data set, okay, browse collection, where everyone able to load the sample data. Yeah, if you don't get it, let me know. So if you see here, you have movies, you have comments, you have reviews. Okay. So let us see anything. Can you see comments 0? Yeah. And then is there anything called reviews? No. Okay. Probably inside this. Okay. The reviews are here. Let's stick with this comments. Okay. Let's go to our comments collection and then check it. Can you see the structure in which they have organized? Okay, the other way around, which I told you. Instead of having the comment IDs in my movie collection, if you can see here, there's no comment IDs. They just have the count. Okay, count of comments. Okay, so what they have done is go to comments, and then they have movie ID associated with each comment. So if I have a movie ID, I can go and query all the comments for a particular movie from the comment collection itself. Okay, now let us say if I wanted for a particular movie, let's say this particular movie, I wanted to fetch all the comments as well in the same query itself. So that is where you can use the lookup operator. Okay, so I need to join data. Okay, I need to join data from the movie collection and from data from the comment collection as well. Correct? So your lookup operator is going to help you with that in order to get data from another collection. Is that clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What your lookup collection is going to do is I have a separate collection called comments. Okay. And each comment has a field called movie ID. Okay. So I have my movie ID here. Probably the I underscore ID will be the field. Okay. In the movie model, I have the ID. Okay, I need to get all the collections of this particular movie from a different collection, right? All the comments from a different collection. So basically you're joining the data from another collection to your movie collection. So that is where your lookup operator comes in. Okay, you have okay, first thing is the from keyword. First is from which collection you wanted to get this data from. I wanted to get the data from comments collection, right? So go back, mention comments, okay, comma, okay. You have local field and you have foreign field, okay. Local field is a field from your movie model itself, okay. Foreign field is the field from your comments collection, okay. Local field and then, sorry, foreign field. So what are these? Like, how are you going to perform this join? How can I get the comments from comments collection for a particular movie? What is the ID that we are looking for?
Movie ID.
Yeah, so the local field is going to be, local is the movie model, right? Which ID are you referring in the movie model to make that join? Underscore ID, right?
Right.
Correct. So the foreign field is going to be the field from my comments collection. Let's go back. In my comments, I have a field called movie ID. So this is what I wanted to match. I wanted to match the ID field from movie model to the movie ID field in collection model. Let me draw it also and show you. So let's say this is the movie collection. So this has title, this has underscore ID, this has year, and so and so. Okay, and you have comments collection which has comment text and likes or whatever. Okay, it has ID, its ID, comment ID, and it also has another field called movie ID. So this and this are same. Okay, so the only similar field in the movie collection and the comment collection is the ID field here and the movie ID field here. So this is going to be my local key, local field or local key. This is going to be my foreign field. Understood? The relationship between your movie collection and your comments. Is that clear? Is the other way around which we saw earlier, right? The one which we saw earlier, we had all the IDs here itself, correct? So here we are having the movie ID in each comment. So you need to perform a join, or you need to perform join in terms of join is more common in SQL. Okay, in Mongo, you can say that you are going to join these two collections with these two IDs. My movie is going to be my local key, and my movie ID is going to be the foreign key from comments collection. Is that clear? Any doubts on that?
No, ma'am.
Others? Akhilesh, Kanhu, Ibrar. So your okay. So your foreign field is going to be my movie underscore ID. Yes. And so this is going to come up. Okay. Let us have this only and then try to query. Let's see what we get and then we will see error, because the error I think is because of this as. Okay, so this is coming up as a new field, right? You don't have the comments field in your movie model. Okay, but this is coming from your comments collection, a new data. So you should give a name to it. So you can give a name as whatever you want. Let's say it's comments only. Okay, if you give a name to it, this time it should give, let's see. Again, error. Hmm,
Ma'am, give another name instead of it's similar to form.
okay, okay. I don't think that should be an error.
Ma'am, lookup will be on the top before match and all the things.
The
First,
the
it
the
will look.
ID is it, but
No,
it.
no,
Mhm.
lookup criteria will be on the top, as I know.
I don't think that's necessary, but yeah, let's try it because the approach which I have followed is error, but let's try. No, no, that is not, that should not be a reason. Something else going wrong. Let's remove this. Okay, it's working. Is the collection name and all correct? Okay, from comments only. Comments movie underscore ID.
Okay, ma'am, let's try before project. Uh, Map lookup before project.
Match should be the first one.
No,
Okay,
before
before
project.
project is it? The
And
ordering. Yeah.
yeah, project should be in comment. Map project को एक बार comment कर दीजिए पहले.
Okay. Got the error here. So what we are doing is we are requesting for this thing, but we are not
But we are not
not
projecting
yeah
it.
yeah projecting it. So okay, let's now the new field name is movie comments, right? Yeah, movie comments again one, at least this time. No, this is one issue. I do get that,
Comment
but
the project part first. Comment the project part.
this one.
Yes, ma'am. Comment it and try now.
I don't think the order or the thing
Ma'am,
should match.
movie comment, it will come from, let's see. Movie
Movie.
comment is we have created a field movie comment, but from movie comment, which field we require. So we have to map dot movie comment dot, let's try the any field in movie comments dot that field name,
No,
then one.
field, I don't think that it's required because ideally it should fetch up all the fields. It's not mandatory to put in the fields, right? Okay. Let me check. No, there is some issue with the lookup. Let us first, okay, let's see, let's comment these and then check. Okay, this is causing the issue. Commenting it is working. I don't think the order messes up because in stage, right? What happens is your Mongo is smart enough to organize it based on the optimization, right? So even if you give project first and then match second, the order in which it will execute is to first match it, because first matching and then projection is no much more optimized, right? And also sort, right? If even if you go and put this sort in the first, what your Mongo, no MongoDB will internally do is, instead of sorting, let's say this is stage one. Okay, that also you should know, right? There's something called Mongo optimization. Okay, so even if I put this as a stage one, ideally what it should be doing is to sort my entire collection, right? Entire collection. So that is not going to happen. So what your Mongo will internally do is first match it and then sort it. So that is much more optimized. So I don't think the stages matter, but let me quickly look into lookup syntax if we are missing anything else. Mongo lookup aggregation.
Try to map the local field
I
ID in
think,
quote
yeah.
and movie ID in quote.
Let me quickly bring the documentation also in the screen so others also can know how to debug the issue. So the first thing you will go to is the documentation, okay, anytime. This is the collection to join. Yes, we are good with that. Field from the input documents. Yes, local field we have given. Field from the foreign field, correct. Output array fields, okay. So this output array fields. So let's go to comments. Probably I need name. Is this comment only, no? Yeah, okay. Let's say I need only the text part. Let's try to give text here.
Ah,
Yes, were you
ma'am,
saying something?
text as you mentioned as text. Text is means like this is the header name for the result we are getting from the lookup. It will not change. Text is nothing. This will not work.
No, I'm just trying out because as specifies output array field, right?
And also
Specify.
map ID and movie ID in code. So if you are trying, so let's try this also. ID and movie ID, local
Swap,
field.
is it?
No, movie ID in quote. If you mention the movie ID text in quote.
Yeah. Let's go back. Movie ID in code. Where?
Movie ID in quote in lookup
Line
aggregation.
number 21. Line number
Line
21.
number 21. Line
Yeah.
number 21, movie ID in code.
Make a string. Yeah. No.
Ma'am, 21.
Line number
Okay.
21.
In quotes.
Yes,
Yeah. It's
Okay, even the ID as well.
yes.
Then
As is means like it's a
yeah,
alias.
it's alias. That's what I was thinking, but I thought like in the documentation it said output array field so that they are expecting some fields from
No,
the
it means
comments. Yeah,
if
yeah.
means like movie, as you declare movie, the whole thing will declare in a single array.
Yeah, got
So
it.
if you want
Yeah,
to access
that's
this
the issue.
array, so first we have to unwind the movie, dollar
Mhm.
unwind movie.
Yeah. So that's the issue. So we need to have it as a quotes. A simple mistake, but we ended up messing up a lot. Yeah, these small syntaxes. Yeah, when you are working in the project, when you get started, you will adapt to it. But that's it. This is something as I mentioned. It's just giving a name to the new field, right? So let's say here this is something we are getting the data from another collection, okay, so that you need to name that field. So that's the reason as has been here, okay. Is this mandatory?
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah,
it's mandatory. You have
yeah.
to alias the uh, data, which means like a collection.
So
Very
this lookup will be very useful when you are separating out data in multiple collections and all. Okay. So when you have data in different collections, you can probably, use this lookup operator to get the data from your another collections. Okay. Prague, do you want me to repeat?
No, ma'am, just
Got
overview.
it? So again, this order doesn't matter. Okay. So your MongoDB is smart enough to, get it. No order doesn't matter as far as I know. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Okay. So as I said, even if you put this sort first, okay, it will first perform match. Okay, it will try to optimize it in a, like, I will also show you that documentation as well. You want, if you have interest, you can go and read. Mongo query of, yeah, aggregation pipelines stages. Yeah, optimization, there should be something. No results found. So this is what I was telling. So you can go and read about it. Okay. Uh, all those project and all we have seen. So let's say you have, let's see about this unset operator. Unset, right? I'll also show that. Cast is an array, right? Okay. Let's say I wanted to project cast data as well. So this is an array. So what I can do is just mention, go back, this unset, where's this unset? Project unset. Just looking for an example from unset. Let's check it. In the next stage, I want to use unset. I think it's the field name. Field name is cast, right? So let's say it's cast. Unset. Give me a minute. I'm just looking to the syntax. Yeah. Unset in aggregations. Yeah, this one or two also will work. Let's say cast one. Let's see what happens. Yeah. To remove multiple fields. Yeah, I'll look into the syntax part. I haven't used it. I'll look into that syntax and then get back. Okay. But yeah, there are multiple operators if you go back to the thing, right? So there
Ma'am,
is sort,
unset remove the field
remove
value.
the fields. Yeah.
Field value, ma'am.
Yeah, remove the field value. You can also use in aggregations to separate out your data in arrays, right? So there's one operator. Let this run now. It's commented. Let me comment this. There's one operator. Let's say you have cast here, right? So you have an array of cast. So these are like an array. Let's say you want each one of them as a separate entry. Let's say all the movie details with cast only the first person. Okay. And another entry with the second cast, and another entry, basically 4 records. Instead of one record with 4 cast, you will have 4 records itself, 4 documents itself listed for each of the cast. that operator can be applied only in arrays, but I'm not just sure of what operator exactly it is.
Try unwind.
Unwind.
Dollar
Yes,
unwind
yes, yes,
cast.
yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay, got it, got it.
मैम unwind कोलन के बाद curly braces में कोई
Exactly. This
requirement?
also, let's try this one. It's expecting as an array, is it? Array or name, just the field name itself.
But I think dollar should be initial.
Dollar and the cast, is it?
Right.
Let's go to the documentation only. Why to just have unwind. Okay. So first one, no cast. If you can see here, there are multiple records itself of the first movie, but the cast alone is separated into individual records. Earlier we had one document with the cast as an array, right? So this cast as an array, it will be separated, and then it will be separated into each individual document itself. So the same, if you see here, same entry of the document, but the cast alone is different. Very rare case you will wanted to have these kind of an operators and just saying that it is there. Okay, just work around with that. Look into the syntax. Even I forgot few syntax, if you know, right? So it's already there in the documentation, just refer them. Okay, if we go and keep on seeing the thing, it will we can take 3 to 4 classes for that itself. Okay,
Ma'am, it's
so
work only or array object.
yes, yes, unwind actually works only on array. Can you see here destructs an array field? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So the other operator, yeah. Again, you can have this min, max and all. Okay, that and all are common. You have GT. Yesterday I showed you, right? Greater than, right? Similarly, you have min, max, sum, total, count. There are plenty of operators. Okay, time permits. If we wanted to discuss all those, we will see in one of the extra sessions. Okay, but the aggregations concept should be clear. Any doubts on this? Go and look into this optimization, optimization document which I showed you. It's like pretty yeah, aggregation optimization. Even if the stages, actually the order doesn't matter. Okay, so it will optimize, it will perform optimization, and it will reorder your query in such a way that it does the operation in quickly. Okay, any doubts on this? Can see here mostly match. Look into this add fields. Okay, mostly project sort match will satisfy most of your thing. Again, you also have limit. Okay, yesterday whatever we saw, you have limit. Let's say you wanted to limit it to you have 2 records, right? Like how many records do I have here? Let's say I want only 1 record. Okay, you can limit it to 1, then add a comma here. Okay, so now if you see here 1 record, then only you are unwinding it. Okay, if I unwind in this, the order matters. Okay, the order doesn't matter in terms of optimization only. The way you want the query to be handled, that you need to make sure. If I wanted casting to be done, sorry, Unwinding to be done before you have to list it. Now you should get only one. So when I do it here, what happens is you're limiting the entry. You're taking only one movie. You had Inception and Senna, right? So you're taking only one movie and then you are unwinding it. So yeah, that order matters. Any other clarifications? Most common operators we have covered. Okay. Other uncommon, as in no, you learn, you will come to know about it. Okay. Any doubts on the aggregations part?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Others?
I have one doubt. Means like I
Yes.
worked too much on this, but I didn't get the objective currently. It's like when we destructure the array, so we use unwind. So means
Hmm.
how to unwind the object fields? Means like we are getting the collection in objects. So
Just
how
mention
to
like you want whatever you wanted, right? IMDb dot rating, that should be fine.
the IMDb rating will be fine for means like so the means primary table which
Hmm.
the data which I'm getting from the secondary table, that data is inside the array, and in array there is a single object, and in that single object everything is mapped. So first we unwind the first array, we destructure the array. Then how to
Yes.
destructure the object part?
Let us understand your query first and then come back. Yeah. So this is the one, right? So let us say you have no movies here. Let me remove this. So are you asking me? So you want only email from here?
Right.
Hmm. Uh, let's do it in the lookup field only. I think it should be part of lookup because that is where we are getting, lookup only specific fields in. You have an object, yeah, not exactly sure of the exact operator, but let's look into, some fields from the query to return. This is what we are looking for ideally. You have campaigns and please note yourself, Ramanal. Yeah. Unwind campaign. Okay. In the project, okay, let's do the lookup first so that we get the data. In the project, let's say you want only movie dot only the email, right? Or only the text, let's say. So just give. Okay, that should work. Is this your question, Shubham?
Yes, it's just
Yeah.
question, but
So it's just a projection only, similar to how you handle other nested objects. The same way this movie, this foreign or the other collection movie has become a new field in our schema now. So you can just treat it based on how you treat other fields. Okay, so this is basically a good question again. So for others, okay, we are getting the data from comments, but without this, I am just displaying the entire, if this is not there, we are just displaying the entire details from the comments. I just only need the text part and probably the date. I don't need okay, probably the name and the text. I don't need movie detail and all. You can use the
And
same project operator as well.
and ma'am, what if we require text and like another field, any field from maybe table
Yeah,
in
just add, right? Like movie dot,
two
let's say,
rows, in two separate rows?
yeah, let us stick to one thing.
Date.
Let's say email name. Okay,
Okay.
name. Mm, yeah.
So
So what is the need to have an, ideally if you wanted to separate it out, this also should be an array. Okay, that is what, let's say you wanted to separate each comment, you can do an unwind for for the movie, right? Let's say if a particular movie has 2 3 comments and you wanted to separate that out, you can do it using unwind. Okay, object part
but
is
ma'am,
this structured to be together.
okay, means it can't be
Yeah,
destructured into all rows.
destructuring, yeah, I believe it is not there. I have worked with unwind, but that too I forgot the name, only you told. Unset is what I just remember something with und. Yeah, let me look up. Destructuring, I think it's not there. Restructuring an object in Mongo. Destructuring, again, you can achieve it using project, right? So it's not like something unachievable and all. Okay, let's say you want only certain fields, you can do it with project, right? So similar to what unwind is doing, that I don't think there is a reason to achieve that, right? It is an object, so name in one entry, one record, and text in one record doesn't make any sense.
No, ma'am, if we do aggregation like some multiplication, so in that case we require, if that's like a order amount and another one is a quantity. So in
Grouping
that
and all
case,
you're talking about, is
yes,
it?
exactly.
Mhm.
In that case, this thing are required.
If there is any operator, we'll check that, but destructuring, let's say unwind for objects, then we should get some result. Let's check. I just pulled out this again for everyone. It's not for everyone will know everything. Okay, you should first develop the thing of browsing it. Okay, just that's the most important skill, I would say. Okay, so yeah, they have asked the same question. Not possible to do the type of computation with aggregation framework, not because there's no unwind method for non-arrays. Even if array unwind will not help, the group by functionality is done based on the, yeah, group by it's different. Again, the rating is an array, right?
Right.
Let's check that later. Okay,
Yeah, sure, sure.
yeah, that's a very rare scenario as well, but if it's a good to know one if it's there, but let's check that out. Others, any other doubts on how aggregations are working? Okay. Many common operators we have, mostly this is what we will be looking for. Okay, again, limit is there. As I said, you have skip. All operators you can do it. Okay, any doubts? Can we go to middlewares?
Ma'am, what?
Middlewares, yes.
Hello. What
Subhash, yes,
happened when we
fetch the data from another database.
Another database itself.
Yeah.
So this is in the same database.
Yes.
Then you'll have to make another query to the different database itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So your URLs and all will change. In an application, unless and until it's a microservice kind of a thing, in one code, I don't think you'll have a separate databases. If that's the case, you need to have a separate URL and query it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is no different collections in the same database only. So let's go back to middlewares. Middlewares are, middleware already. What is middleware? Express middleware at least. So anything from request to response, all the handlers which you have in between, okay, are called middleware. So one after one, by calling the next method, you can simply go to each middlewares, right? This is clear. For anything between your request and response, you have multiple functions in between, which we call it as middlewares, and you call each middleware using the next reference. Okay, let's say this middleware fails and you send the response here itself instead of processing the other half. Okay, so that is what your express middleware was doing. Okay, so again, then next we saw aggregations in Mongo. Okay, which is kind of similar to this. Okay, each result goes on, but this is a feature of MongoDB itself, right? MongoDB server, correct? Your MongoDB itself, it is nothing specific to Mongoose and all. Okay, as I told you, this aggregate and all can be done with your what, the MongoDB driver itself. This one, app.js. Yeah, this driver also will support aggregation. Okay, it's a feature of MongoDB itself. Okay, again, when I say middlewares in Mongoose, okay, this is again the third one which we are going to learn is Mongoose middlewares. Middlewares. Okay, so I have my client, let's say C. Okay, client sends a request to my Node.js server. Yes, correct. And I am sending a request to my MongoDB server, right? So this is the DB part, correct? This is our cycle here, correct? So anything from whenever you send a request, okay? So yeah, let's say you're sending response here, okay? Anything which happens from request to response, right? So that is what we call it as express middlewares. Okay, request to response, client request to your response. Okay, but internally what a node is doing is sending a request to your MongoDB server, correct? Yeah, so before you send, there can be certain middlewares that sits in between your Node.js server and your MongoDB server. Yes, so again, this is called middlewares. So you can have multiple middlewares that sits between your Node.js server and your MongoDB server. So this middlewares are what your Mongoose is supporting. What is Mongoose? Mongoose is just a wrapper around your MongoDB server, right? Correct? Everyone understand on this? MongoDB is the client driver. Okay, your Mongoose is just a wrapper around your MongoDB server, which supports basically this schema, modeling, all those. Correct. It also supports something called as middlewares, which is basically any operation that is done Okay, when my Node.js sends the DB server request, okay, so request to get the data, and the MongoDB receives that request, right? Okay, middlewares can be present from your Node.js to Mongo, or from your MongoDB server to your Node.js. Here also middlewares can be present. Understood? Let's say this is my Node.js server, and this is my MongoDB server, right? So when we are sending any request to query the data, there might be multiple middlewares. Okay, so all these are Mongoose middlewares which is supported. Similarly, when I'm getting the response, that is the data, right? Data from your server, for example, find query, you get the data from the server. For example, let's say this request maybe, let's say dot create to add the data. So these are your requests, right? Writing the data and then reading the data. So whenever I send these requests from my node to server, or my Mongo server to my node, okay, I can have multiple middlewares in between. And these middlewares are supported by my Mongoose library. What I am going to do in middleware, that and all we will see. Okay, but think of as a functions only, similar to your Express. Okay, similar to your Express, these are Express middlewares, these are just functions, right? Similarly, these are also just functions, okay, which your Mongoose is supporting middlewares. Okay, that is the theoretical concept. So if we have to tell it in technical terms, in Mongoose terminology, okay, all these middlewares which are executed, okay, whenever you are writing, or let's say you're adding the data to your server, or you're modify your request, right, from your node to your server, the request part, okay, any middlewares in between the request is called pre middlewares or pre hooks, something you can call it as. Okay, so this, okay, after the data which is coming from the server to your node, anything in between middlewares or functions in between that, we call it as post middlewares or post functions. Is that clear?
Can you repeat again, ma'am? Pre and
Yeah.
post.
Okay, pre and post. Let us say I am writing the data. Okay, this is my node server, this is my Mongo server, Mongo, and this is my node. Okay, I am writing the data. So before I write the data, before I basically I am giving the data, right? This is the way it's going from your node, it's going to your Mongo server, right? I am requesting the data to be written. Okay, and on that particular point, I call it any functions or any middlewares present, you term it as pre. Okay, something that has to be done before the request goes from my node to Mongo. Is that part clear? Before my request goes from node to Mongo, those middlewares I call it as post. Okay, the response which I get from Mongo, okay, after the DB operations, let's say you're writing it, or let's say you're writing data. After writing, there should be some response, right? After writing the data, some response from your MongoDB server to your node. Okay, there also you can perform some middlewares. Okay, this can be from your node to server or your server to node. Okay, there can be multiple middlewares there. Okay, so if your middlewares are present in the line of MongoDB to node, you call them as post middlewares or post hooks, you can call them as. Okay, just the terminology. Anything which is present from your node request to your Mongo server is called pre, and from your Mongo server to node is called post. Probably when I give certain examples, you'll be able to understand. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other doubts on the concept? Just same thing, same middleware, probably from request to response. This one is ideally between your request and response, only that node MongoDB interaction and all should be present. So this is specific to your node server and your MongoDB server. MongoDB itself is a server, right? You have a URL to connect with. So it's a server. Again, the request to, let's say, not this one. controllers, no, finding. Okay, you will send a request to find. Okay, first one is from your node.js, a find request will be sent to your Mongo server, right? So any middleware with executes in that part is called pre. Okay, after performing this operation, your Mongo server is going to send the data to your node server, correct? That is how you will get your movie data here. Anything that happens between them, right? Like between that point from your Mongo server to your node, that is called as post hooks or post middlewares in Mongoose terminology. Okay, middleware is nothing but just functions similar. Okay, so where can I define this middlewares? Okay, that's okay. You can define it in the schema itself. You have schema, right? And you can define in model. You can define in aggregation as well, right? If I am not wrong, the one other place is in the query itself. Okay, so we will see schema level middlewares, and then probably the next one is going to be query, I believe. Okay, we will see how to add middlewares and all. We'll start with schema. Okay, you can add middlewares in all these places. You can add it to a model itself, you can add it to an aggregation pipeline, you can add middleware to a query. Okay, just a few set of functions. Okay, so if that concept is clear, this is the adding part where I have to add the middlewares. Okay, but this middleware concept is clear, like what are pre and post. Everyone, any doubts? Bhushan, Ganga, Jitender. Jitender, are you new to the class? Okay. Shubir, Bhavan, Saurabh, Srinivas. Concept clear, then the implementation should be simple. Okay, this movie is, okay, let's take another example. Let me go to my routes. Okay, you have a user route, cool. Let me go to routes, user routes. Let's say I have a router dot post. Let's say I wanted to add a user. Okay, how do I connect to DB? Let's say I have a separate collection called users, and then let me add that here. Where is my env? Let's go back to our user details. The DB is going to be, let's say, user. I wanted to connect it to. Let me also comment this so that I don't end up in any errors in my routes. Yeah, const. Let's say you have user name and password. Let's stick to that only. Okay, and request dot body. Let us have a schema for my user.js. This is going to be my user schema. I have only name, and let's say I have a password. again a type string, and let's say it's also required. Okay, and then I need to create a model out of my schema, right? So that's going to be the next step. How do you create? Have mongoose.model, and then let's copy, paste. So instead of movie model, now it's going to be user model. Again, my collection is going to be user details. Okay, and then paste it. So user model done. So what I am going to do is import my user model, const user model from require slash this is inside models, right? Okay, models slash user. Okay, user. Okay, let's have it in that way only. So I have the model. So what do we need to add it to your database? What is the query? What's the query? Probably have this as async. What is the thing to add movies? We already saw create or create. Yes, this is the one to add it. Let us copy paste the same thing. In my user route, add it. So this is going to be my user model now. Let us add the entire request.body itself. Okay, can we see if it's working? Slash users and post. Going to be my post, and in the body I am going to have a raw, have name, let's say okay, and then have password. Okay, ABC. Okay, so let's try to send it. Okay, something is getting added. Okay, it's working. Let's go back to our Mongo collection. Okay, let's, how do I clear everything? There should be some way to empty my collection. It's to delete it. Probably if I delete it, it will create one. User details. Okay, so let's reload. Okay, I got the user details now. One document is inserted, but in productions and all, okay, it is not suggested to store the database. Okay, sorry, to store your password in the database directly like this. Okay, they won't do it in this way. Let's say someone gets access to your database directly. Okay, they'll come to know this, right? One
Yes,
way or
ma'am.
the other, if they come to know, have access to your database, the password field should not be revealed. Even in database, you should have some kind of security. Okay, so instead of storing the database, in mostly what they do is to hash your password and then store it. Okay, hash your password using some algorithms. Okay, everyone understand hashing, no problem with that, right? There is some certain set of algorithms which is, you know, applied on this string, which converts this string into some random string. Okay, basically if you apply the same algorithm to that hashed password, you will be able to get the original password here. Okay, so that is the process. So in order to hash, you cannot define your own algorithm. Yes, you can do it. Even if you do it, it will not be much secure. So for that also you have few packages. You have the default one, if I'm not wrong, let me,
Crypto.
yeah, you have the default one. That's kind of complex. Okay, not complex in terms of implementation, too much of code going there. You have one popular library for that as well. Okay, you put this
Yes,
bcrypt.
Bcrypt.
Yeah, so this is the library to hash your passwords. Okay, simply to hash. Okay, if you go down, okay, it's just one line of code. Okay, so if you just see, yeah, await, this is to compare. Again, hash, you can just mention you know, await and then hash it. This is the line you will have to use it. Okay, so yeah, can we go back to our application? Let's try to npm I bcrypt. Should be there. Let's see. Okay, so we were talking about something else and we came into bcrypt. Okay, I'm just trying to demonstrate the concept and the use cases only. Okay, so before adding your database into your database, your password, what you will be doing is basically hashing your password, right? Hashing password. Okay, so yeah, this is installed. Let's import it. Const, say bcrypt, which is require. Okay, so in order to hash it, const hashed password, which is equal to await. If you can see in the documentation itself, all are async processes. Okay, you can have it as a, you know, callback kind of a thing, or you can use async await. Okay, both will work. If you can see here, hash. Okay, so await bcrypt dot hash. First is going to be the data which I wanted to hash. What do I need to hash? Let's have const name and password from my request dot body. Right, so I need to hash this password, so put that password here. Okay, so the second one is something called salt or rounds. Okay, basically what happens is this bcrypt is designed in such a way. Okay, if you specify the any integer, okay, for salt rounds, it basically adds. Let's say if my password is, let's say if my password is 123, okay, and you give salt round as 2, okay, 2 or 3, okay, if you give 3, it basically attaches some random 3-letter characters and then hash it. Okay, so it basically, if you can go and see the documentation, salt, no explanation for what it is, it should be there. Okay, so a length of additional characters that you wanted to add basically. Okay, so let's say it's 5. Okay, and then you are good to go. Now let us try to print this hash password. Okay, let's try to see that. Sorry, not encrypt. npm run dev. If I go and hit it again, if I go back, can you see a random hash being present? So instead of going to store this password directly in my DB, I am going to use this hash to store it in my DB. Okay. You also have methods to compare and all. Okay. If you see here, hash, and then you know, you get the comparison. Okay, to compare your password, all those you can look into documentation and implement. For now let's stick with this hash. Okay, we want to learn about Mongoose middlewares now. Okay, so instead of adding hash, the password directly to my DB, now I wanted to add this hash password. So what ideally I should do is request dot, or simple terms, let's say, mention the object here. The first one is going to be my name. The second one, for my password, I am going to add my hashed password. Yes. Name is same. Okay, same name, same key. So I have just given it once. Here it's going to be different. Password is a key and value is going to be hashed password instead of the original password itself. Now, if I try to add this one, okay, can you see hashed password being added? So even if someone get access to my database, okay, they will not be exposed with the password. They'll only get the hash one. Correct? So let's stop the hashing part there only. We are not learning that. Okay, let's come back to middlewares. Okay, so this post route or this post handler should ideally be doing, okay, only the addition part. Okay, do that job only. Okay, this is something called as sanitizing or pre-processing your input, right? Some side effects also, you can say, they name these kind of thing as all side effects. Okay, I wanted to do an addition to my database. Before that, I'm doing some validations, some processing, some conversions here. Okay, so but this password is something specific to making changes to the data that has to be added in your database, right? Making changes to the data that has to be done before adding it to my database. Yes, you can argue with me, why don't I put a separate method? Okay, hash password, have a separate method in either of my controllers and implement that. Yes, totally fine, no problem. Okay, how you wanted to structure your code, it's up to you, and how of a good design you have, it's up to you. And if you go to companies and all, it's mostly up to the senior people. Okay, so this is something that process that you have to do something in between, your node server and before adding it to my database, right? So all these kind of a process you can put it in your Mongoose middleware. Okay, let me cut this. Okay, let us have this here. I told you 4 ways to add, right? 4 ways to add middlewares. One is in schema. So let us go back, go to my user schema. Okay, in my user schema, you can, I think in user schema, user schema dot pre, yeah, can you see pre and can you see post? Okay, so I'm going to add a middleware and put this operation, right? This operation of hashing in that middleware, something in between my node server and my Mongo database. Okay, whenever I am doing certain operations, we'll see how to define that. Okay, I'm going to just put that in that part, move this into that middleware because it is more specific to the modulation in my database itself rather than to do with any internal logic in node. Okay, it's not any logic or something to be specified in your node application, no business logic and all. It's just a transforming a data before adding it to your database. Okay, by putting it in the Mongoose middleware, you move this operation closer to DB. That as simple as that. Okay, so let me go and define pre. The first one, if you can see here, method. Okay, method. So if I put quotes, can you see aggregate, delete one, insert many, save, validate one? Okay, these are the few, but you have find all those. Okay, but what are we doing here at this particular point? What is the request we are going to say send? What is the request you're going to send from your Node.js? Let's come back to the middleware concept only. What is the request that you're going to send from your node to your Mongo? Anyone? What's the request we are sending? The create request or the save request, writing the database? Okay. So you need to mention, everyone agree with me on that? What's the request we are sending? There might be multiple requests, right? From your node server to your MongoDB server, there can be multiple requests. You can either add data, you can either pull in data, like you can either find, update, you can delete. All these are different requests that you're sending to your MongoDB server. Okay, I need my middlewares to be present in between those requests. Okay, so let's say I wanted to create. I think for create and save are similar. Okay, I'm going to add data to my database. Okay, whenever I'm adding some data, I need a middleware function to be present. Is this part clear? Whenever I'm adding, so let's say if you add, let's say if you give delete one, whenever you're sending a delete one request to your MongoDB server, then this middleware will be executed. Now I wanted to have a middleware on my save. Okay, let me console.log and show you. Save middleware. Okay, I'm not doing anything here. Your hashing is still present in this part only. Say ABC1. Run now. Can you see save middleware being executed? Yes. So this function is called whenever I am saving anything. Okay. So if I try to, let's say I change this to find, which is the get request. Okay. Now if I go and hit, data is added, yes, but now do you see that save middleware being printed? No. So when will this middleware be executed? Only on particular request, similar to how you give click or in your DOM, right? You mention the event, right? Similarly, you need to mention what kind of a request you're sending to your Mongo server. Okay, on that particular request, this function or this middleware will be executed. Now, can I move this part, cut? Okay, I don't need to do any change here. Just send the request dot body. I am going to have it here. But okay, is that part clear? I'm just moving this part. Okay, no need to destructure and all. I'm just doing the whatever process I did. On create, that is on save, I want this middleware to be executed. So you are calling your Mongo server now. Okay, from your node, you are going to your MongoDB server in this line. Okay, when I am going that, when I'm doing that, when my request is going from my node server to my MongoDB server, I want certain middlewares to be present. And that middleware is specific to my save request alone. Okay, on save request, I want this middleware to be executed. So I am doing a save request here, or a create or save, both same save request here. And then this middleware is being executed. But I need the data, right? I need this data, whatever data is being added. Correct? If I have a request from my node to server, inside my middlewares, I need the request data. Correct? So let's go back to our JavaScript basics. Let's say you have obj object, uh, obj. Let's say you have name. Let's say random string. So what will this be here? What is this keyword will do here? What will this have? What will this have? This keyword here inside. Let's say if I try to call obj.getName, what will get printed in this line? Line 30. This you should know. Anyone? Nobody knows this? Just JavaScript concept. What will be the output of line 30? Adil? Do you know the answer?
ma'am.
Yeah, tell me. What will be the output of in line 30, Adil? Yes, Kanho, correct. Okay. So this will point to the entire obj object itself, right? So if I try to get this dot name, I'll be able to. Correct. This points to the entire object from where you are calling this method. I'm calling this method from obj. That's the reason your get name will, this will point to my the entire object. Okay. So similarly, this, okay, this function, okay, this middleware is called from your this create thing only. Okay, so the instance of your parent object, okay, whenever you wanted to access the instance of your object, you use this keyword. Okay, so inside your function, if you try to log in this here, let me comment it. This one, it's giving me error. Can you see our entire object being present in this, right, in line 16? Correct? Whatever data I wanted to add is being present there, right? So can I get my password using this dot password?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? So you should understand this keyword actually contains the data that you wanted to add it to your middleware. Okay. So whenever you wanted to add it, so you have the entire data, you can use the dot operator and get that data from there. So let me uncomment this. So instead of password, this is going to be this dot password. Again, the hashed password is going to be, I'm going to change, okay, this dot hash, sorry, this dot password, just changing the password value itself to the hashed password. Is that clear? Can we try to perform this and see if our passwords are hashed? One, two, three. Let me go back. I have removed everything from here. Yes. Save here. Okay. So yeah, now let's, okay, I haven't started. Again, await you have, so put this as async, then you are good to go. Error object expected. Decrypt dot hash. Give me a minute. Let's see where I'm making mistake. User schema. It should be the one. Pre and save. Dot log async function await pickup dot hash. Password and then let's try. This shouldn't bring any change, but let's check. Yeah, expected. What's going wrong? String again required. Okay, got it. We haven't imported bcrypt here. Cut and then paste it. Okay, that's the issue. The package is not imported in this file. Okay, so that is it, right? Like whenever I am going to do a save operation, okay, I have attached a middleware before going to buy MongoDB. Mongoose is allowing me to add some middlewares by which I can access the data which is going to be added to my Mongo database and then perform some operations on it. Okay, can I add only one middleware to a particular event? No. If I have no pre, let's say I have a function, let's say console.log save middleware. Let's have this as 1 and 2. Let us go back. If I try to hit now, can you see it's executed in the order save middleware 1 and save middleware 2? In the order whichever you give, it will be executed. Similar to how your express middleware is same. Okay, nothing different here. Any other doubts on this, how to add middlewares? So let us say I wanted to execute this middleware 2 first. Okay, yes, I can simply put this and you are good to go. But let us say, okay, in this is an async process, right? So let's say you are reading a huge file, which will obviously take some time. Okay, by the time it's reading, you want your next middlewares to be executed. You don't want this async process to be, you don't want to wait, and you wanted to call your next middleware in between. Okay, you can similar to how you have next in your express middlewares, right? You have request, response, and next, correct? Yes, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you have request, response, and next in your express middlewares, right? You don't have request and response here, you just have the next one. Okay, so let's say uh, you know uh, if you wanted to call your next middleware somewhere, before executing this, you can simply call that here. So this next here is basically a reference to the next middleware in the line. Okay, if I do that, what will happen is, let's put this statement after it. Now if you go back and hit, it will come to this middleware first because this is the first in line. Okay, since you have called, it will log that message. Okay, whatever the password is. Yes, user123. Okay. Okay, it is executing. I want next to be executed. That should be one. Okay. Even then, that's the order, is it? It actually depends on this await process. Okay, so that's the reason the order is not correct. So let's say if you, instead of await keyword, you are using, something of, where's my bcrypt? Yeah, something of this kind where you have a callback function. Okay, so basically you can do your next operation here. Okay, so by the time this happens and finishes, you can go to your next middleware and then come back. So that's too much of detail, but yeah, you can either add it or put it in the order you wanted to execute and you are good to go. Okay, it will just execute in the order which you gave. Is it only, for save? No, you can add as many schema for different events or different operations. Let's say you're doing a find operation. Okay, and then let us say function console.log find middleware. Okay, so now this middleware will not be executed on the save operation. Okay, if you can see here, but in the get operation, it will be added. So let's say I wanted to get the data, right? So let's go to movies. Oh, sorry. What did we do to get all the data? Just use, too much. Let's use the find query. To user in my no, in my app dot, no, here, route. So instead of my, I am going to have user model and then query for it. Dot find. Okay, let's not have all these criterias. Users and then paste it. Let's go and ask for, again, add async keyword. Okay, started. So I'm going to use the get call. The resource, sorry, this has to be removed. Okay, so now if you see, can you see find middleware being executed? So before sending a find query, you have this middleware that you can execute. Okay, pre-understood based on whatever operation you are doing, add the middleware to that particular operation. Okay. Okay, it's already time up. Okay, just similar to user schema. Okay, you have post. Basically, if you define a post for save and then add a function here, this will be executed after your save operation. Okay, let me simply, I'll go and execute one use case tomorrow, but just for the completion sake, okay, let's say after save operation. Okay, this is post. Okay, so now if I go back and do my post operation, okay, can you see two pre-middlewares executed, and after your save operation, when you are receiving the response from your MongoDB to your node server, which is this one, okay, this one, I am going to add some middlewares which are post middlewares, and that's the reason this middleware is being executed after your pre-middlewares. Okay, what are certain operations that you can do here? We will see tomorrow. Any doubts on where your pre and post are being executed? Concept clear? Again, as I said, it's not mandatory that you'll have to use this middleware. You can very well add a method here, just be done with it. But since you already importing Mongoose, this will help you to have a better structure. That's it. Any doubts? Can we go to MCQs? Yeah, only one MCQ we have done it. Any doubts, guys? So if you wanted to go one level up, okay. Mongoose. In the middlewares itself, you have something called serial and parallel. You can look into it. You can see all these are the documents. Okay, this refers to the data. Okay, for in certain, only for save, remove, this keyword refers to the data. Okay, for other operations, this keyword refers to something else. We will see tomorrow all that. Okay, but if you see here, post and pre middleware, okay, there is something called as serial and parallel. That's what I'm looking into. Okay, I'll look that documentation later and then let you know. Let me post the MCQ first. Hmm. Okay, I got it. Yeah, added the MCQ for Tata. Yeah, posted it for Baba as well. Again, Mongo operators, you will have to know query, search for different complex queries. Okay, work with that to gain a lot of confidence in MongoDB itself. Concept wise, it's going to remain the same. Okay, based on your query, you will have to use different operators. Okay, so you will have to learn that. Okay, practice, only with practice you can. Okay, added third MCQ for Tata. Yes, added for Baba as well. Last one, let me see if I have any theoretical. Okay, this is pretty simple. Tomorrow we will see the continuation, the post thing alone, and we will start with SQL. Okay, most of the concepts from your Mongo concept wise are clear, just that you will have to practice more. Okay, by CCs and assignments you will be able to do it, but it will also require your effort, additional effort, to gain a good grasp of the database itself. Concept wise all are done. Okay, added last MCQ for Tata. This is very easy, like you have attended multiple MCQs of this type earlier. Yeah, added it for Baba as well. Third MCQ, any scenarios, any solution to avoid that? Any answers? Look into use strict keyword in JavaScript and what it does. Okay, so that will help you out. Okay, yeah. So in the third MCQ, greeting, and if you have a different typo, you should not, ideally not allow it, right? So, but your JavaScript will not complain. The correct answer is your empty objects. Many of you have given right answer. Good. Okay. But that is not something we want. We wanted our JavaScript to throw error or do not allow that kind of, accidental variables, which we call it as. Okay. So use strict. Okay. Browse more about that. Learn about that as well. Okay, I've created the attendance.
मैं भी किसी का बॉयफ्रेंड बनना चाहता हूँ बाबू सोना बेबी
Yeah, I have added the created attendance. Good night, everyone. Anyone else if you have any doubts, stay back, we can discuss. Tomorrow it's going to be MCQ. Sorry, not MCQ, SQL. Good night, Shivam. Good night, Abrar. Good night.
Which SQL, ma'am? MySQL.
MySQL, yeah. Most of you, if you are from computer science background, most of you would have known that because it's already there in our syllabus. Mongo is something which is not there, I believe. I don't know if they have brought in that into
No, ma'am.
recent
Mongo is
regulations.
also there, but little in the
Oh,
syllabus.
okay, okay. Probably they have changed the syllabus in the regulations. I use in 2013 regulation, so I didn't have that in my syllabus. Any other doubts? Srinivas, Subhash, Saurabh, too many people with the name, Shubham, Subhash, no, S, too many people. It's kind of confusing. Saurabh, yeah, that's okay. Any doubts? Dheeraj, Pradeep, Dheeraj, were you saying something? Just put in chat if you have issues with your mic.
Bye, ma'am. Good night.
Bye, sir. Bye, Adil.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night, Subhash. Good night. Any doubts? Others? Pradeep, Shubham Kumar, Srinivas, Bhavan, Prag. Good night, Shubham. Good night. Yeah. I'm ending the meeting now. Then thank you. Good night, all.